should we buy low-fat cottage cheese if we're eating on your plan or regular?
I buy everything regular now. We talk about margarine versus butter. I buy butter, and again, you can use a low fat. Now, a lot of the milk products they recommend on the program raw milk, and for me, I can't find that here where I'm at. So those types of things are a little bit different maybe, but a lot of the low fat, especially the low sugar, those are different chemicals that to me, again, I'm not a nutritionist, but reading the program and going through it, the natural foods, the foods that are really real, are the better foods to have than trying to cut back calories with some of the processed type foods or low-fat foods.
I was listening to you when you were talking about some of the things that, when you were listing, when Nan asked about the whole foods, and you mentioned broccoli and cauliflower. And then on the list of what not to eat, you listed cabbage. Aren't they in the same family? Aren't they very similar? And why do I have to give up my cabbage?
Well, you don't necessarily have to give up your cabbage. If you happen to have that particular metabolic imbalance, then you might want to give it up for a particular time. So again, what you look at in the program, it's a little confusing, and it was confusing at first. But when you look at the program, what you do is you go through your metabolic imbalance test and look at those foods to avoid, and then you go to looking at the foods on whatever different nutritional, the perfectly balanced, perfectly aware, perfectly clear, and then you just adjust it a bit. And so again, that's a valid question, but that's really the way it works.
Okay, I see. I'm glad I asked that, because it is like you want to adjust your diet to suit you specifically, and you will get into that as you go, and you'll figure it out. Okay, well, that's great.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, and then another thing that you didn't talk too much about, you just talked a little bit about, and I think it's pretty fascinating, and it's one of the things that I'm really working on because I really get the importance of it, and that is raising your vibration, your energetic vibration. And I know that your program has, I think that that's probably one of the most prominent efforts that a person needs to make in it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole concept of law of attraction is really vibration. And again, getting back to our subconscious mind and our conscious mind, that again sets up that vibration, and that becomes your comfort zone. And again, we talk about wanting to break through that. That's that change in vibration. And folks that don't really kind of understand that vibration, everything around us in the universe is vibrating. We're all vibrational. The table in front of me, the table in front of you, we are all in vibration. And the best way to explain that is that if you meet somebody and you don't seem to hit it off or don't like them or something happens, it's because the vibrations probably aren't quite meshing together. So again, when you go through a program, any type of program, you change your awareness, you're going to change your vibration. You're going to change how you feel about different things. And that's just, it's hard sometimes, again, because, again, changing that vibration is going through that barrier or that wall. And, if you bounce off of it, it's difficult. And, again, talking with Paul Martinelli, he says, we are all born for perfection, but programmed to fail. And that gets back into that subconscious mind of, we are part of the universe, and those, that vibration, that positive vibration, and that's what we were born from, but we're programmed by the people around us. And that's not to say the people around us are bad people. It's just whatever paradigm they have, happened that way. And then we're programmed to fail. And there's a great story, again, when you ask the questions about belief and paradigm. There's a great story. I love this story. There's a woman who watched her mother cook ham one day, and she watched her mother cut both ends off the ham. And she asked her mother, "Why did you do that?" And the mother said, "Well, I don't know. That's what my mother did." So the woman went to the grandmother and said, "Well, why do you cut ends off the ham?" And she said, "Well, I don't know. That's what my mother did." So the woman goes to the great-grandmother, who's still alive, and says, well, why did you cut off the two ends of the ham? And she said, well, because when I was growing up, we had a ham, and the pan was too small for the ham, so we cut the two ends off. And that's just a great example of beliefs and habits that gets passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that's why you see a lot of families are in the same boat. You know, usually if you have overweight parents, you might have overweight kids. If you have fit parents, you might have fit kids. But it's again, some of that vibration, that habit, those beliefs that you are born with, and that's really, or not born with, you're programmed with, how it gets to be your paradigm.
So one of the ways that you can raise your vibration is working your program. And are there any steps that you can take that could actually help you raise your vibration?
Yeah, you know, I want to again emphasize, you talked before, Sherry, what happens a lot of time when people decide that they want to go on a diet or they want to go to, you know, get fit, is they'll go, okay, you know, I'm going to do this now, and I'm all excited, and their vibration, they're ready to go, and they go out there and they try and run 5 miles, or they decide to eat only rice crackers for 3 weeks or something, and they lose that willpower. They can't do it, and they fall off the wagon for whatever reason. And raising your vibration again is really, if you look at taking slow steps. If it took you 20 years to gain weight, you can't lose it in 2 months. And I've actually had people who want to come and have me coach them, but want to actually have go on a liquid diet but be coached. And I refuse to do that. I won't do it because they're not changing themselves. They're not totally doing that. So, but taking those steps, eating the right foods, talk about getting healthy, taking steps, walking, take a walk around the block. If you have a dog, he'll love you. If you haven't walked him before, get out there and walk a little bit. When I first started this, yoga is another one. I'm not a very good person with yoga. Everybody knows that. They laugh at me about that. But when I first started this, I did have a treadmill, and I, would walk the dog and things. And pretty much, 3 miles an hour on the treadmill was pretty much my limit. Now I can actually run on the treadmill, but not for long, but I can run. And so, but I did that in increments. I didn't one day go, I'm just going to, go from 3 miles an hour to 4.5, whatever it is. I took it slowly. And again, that's what you need to do. The other thing that's great with this program for raising your vibration is also meditate. We talked about this before. Visualize. Visualize yourself at that perfect weight. Visualize yourself doing the things that you haven't done before. In high school, all during my childhood, I was on a swim team until I got too big to do that. And I hadn't been in the water for 30 years. And once I started getting on this program and realizing and being aware and understanding my body and understanding how all this worked, I actually got a swimsuit and swam in the ocean one day, and I felt great. And I think, visualizing some of the things that you've never, or you haven't given yourself the opportunity to do because of your weight, it is a great way to do it as well. Because again, you start feeling positive, and once you start feeling good, you then can change that vibration. And I know a lot of, when you heard about law of attraction, they talk about, the first law of attraction talked about, just all you have to do is visualize, well, that was the concept. All you have to do is kind of visualize something happening and it happens.